Driving for dollars can be an effective way for finding off-market real estate opportunities, but it's essential to target the right neighborhoods in order to maximize your profits. Here are some steps that will help you determine the correct neighborhoods when driving for dollars. The first thing you should do is research market trends. Start by analyzing the local real estate market. Look for areas with increasing property values, low inventory, and high demand for housing. Next, you can identify target markets. I want you to consider your investment goals and strategies. Are you looking for wholesaling opportunities, fix and flip opportunities, maybe rental properties, or potential development projects? Determine the characteristics of the neighborhoods that align with your objectives, such as affordability, potential for appreciation, or demand for rental properties. One of the first things that I like to do is to find the median home price. You could do this right here in REI Pro. So here on the dashboard, you could see these tabs, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30269, and so forth, and you can add in multiple different locations. Here you could see last home sales were down by 13, so a total of 57 in Fayetteville, Georgia. But the key that I want you to look for is the median home price. Here you could see it's $399,000. Now that's going to be the middle of the road. So when I'm looking for potential neighborhoods to drive for dollars, this is my starting point. And ultimately, I want to start here and go down just a little bit. Now that you've determined what the median home price is, we can now start to target specific areas. So here I'm going to type in Fayetteville, Georgia. Next, I'm going to go up to absentee owners, which make a great lead source for many types of real estate deals. So depending if you're working a very specific strategy, you might want to change this, but we're going to start with absentee owners and click search. So as you can see, we have 2,400, but the key here is which neighborhoods kind of fit that middle price range. The very first thing I want you to do is go up to the filters. And depending on what type of property types, I'm not going to go into too much depth there, but we know that minimum estimated value and where we want to kind of target is that middle price point, which is going to be the $399. Now, I also said I want to go below that, right? So I'm going to start with the maximum at 400. Now, here is where you could just start playing around. You might start out with 200. I could then apply these filters to give me an idea, okay, where are these particular properties located? Now, we only displayed 250 dots on the map, but you can see where they kind of congregate over here. Now, what I want you to do is simply keep scrolling in here. And I want you to see where these dots are just a lot of them, right? So as you keep zooming in, it's going to start to eliminate some of these other properties. But you could see I've got several in these neighborhoods. Now, if you want to change it to satellite, you can do that. You can also turn on the neighborhoods, and this is going to be key. So you could start to see which neighborhoods you need to be spending your time driving for dollars, right? Now, again, you can fine tune this based on your investment strategy and even fine tune the price point of these properties. Now, I'm not necessarily looking for these specific properties. What I'm doing is I know that homes in these neighborhoods match the criteria that I'm looking for, which is that middle price point and below. That's where I want to start driving for dollars. And back in the day, I would drive these neighborhoods and highlight each neighborhood that I drove. So the next time that I went out driving, I would go to a different neighborhood and then I would highlight that one a different color. And I'm going to keep doing this over and over and over again and eventually recircling back into the first neighborhood that I drove, however long ago that was, because situations are going to change. Maybe you didn't see a potential distressed vacant property 6 months ago in that neighborhood, but today you did. The most important thing is people's circumstances change in time. And that's why we want to keep circling back to these particular neighborhoods. Now, as you can see, they're kind of scattered out a little bit. I'm just going to zoom back out real quick here. And there's a lot of neighborhoods that we can jump in. So when you start driving for dollars, a key point is identifying the price point that you need to be in. Now, most of the time, wholesalers are going to be in that middle to lower priced markets, whereas a rehabber might stick right at that medium and maybe a little bit up. Now, generally, I wouldn't drive neighborhoods looking for a lease option deal or a seller finance deal. Generally, these are going to be properties that you're not going to be able to see from the vehicle of your car as being distressed, because most of the time they're generally in good shape and in nice neighborhoods. Now, as you're driving these particular neighborhoods, make a note of, hey, which ones showed more signs of distress, such as vacant or boarded up properties, neglected houses, or properties just in disrepair. These areas may present potential opportunities for you to acquire properties at a lower price and add value through renovations and redevelopment. Now, just some of the things that we want to pay attention to while we're in the neighborhoods, getting to the neighborhoods, is obvious things such as tall grass, boarded windows, things of that nature. But there's a lot of times you don't see those personal things like a reef on the door or a potted plant, a hose. So I'm also trying to pay attention to some of the smaller details about that. You know, some tips are, when there's a vacant house, the neighbor usually likes to park their car in the driveway so other people don't think it's vacant. And I remember seeing numerous cars just paying attention to the expiration on the plate while you're driving through. And don't drive through these neighborhoods like at 40 miles an hour because you're just going to kind of miss everything. But you don't want to go 3 miles an hour either, because obviously people are going to think, what's wrong with this guy? What's he doing in my area? So you just want to keep a nice even pace, keeping your eyes open. It's always great to have a couple of people with you when you do this, but if you're driving by yourself, just try to focus on a very small area and hit every street, even if it's a dead end. So those are just some tips before we get into a neighborhood, and let's get out there and we'll see what we can find. All right, so just found another property. One thing I want to point out here, I want to show you what I'm seeing. You see it's trash day out here, and those trash cans are just kind of hanging out. But when you look at the property, there's nothing there, right? So there's not much hoses, pots, plants, anything of that nature that really shows that somebody actually lives there. And that's why we're going to use REI Pro on this one as well. We're going to use the quick lookup, and then we're going to see if the actual owner lives here. Now, even if this property is rented out, it doesn't mean that the owner doesn't want to sell it. So it still could be a great lead for us, but definitely does not appear that somebody lives there. So we'll add that one to the list. Remember, each market is unique, so it's crucial to adapt these steps to your specific location. I want you to prioritize thorough research and due diligence before you start driving for dollars. Happy hunting, and I'll see you on the next training video.